of the fence. You, Chris Cox,
What?
you
I've
are
never been to a
going.
cocktail party.
You are going to the cocktail parties. You were invited to the front seat of the fireside chats because all.
You look great, dude. Nobody cares.
I do.
Nobody watches us. They just listen.
I care. I care. I like to look at me.
Well, welcome everyone to May the Zoo be with you. We are so glad that you are here. This is the intro. Josh and I don't know how to do intros, but I'm Louie, and that is Josh from Hometown TCG. Josh, take it away.
I wore the shirt and you took the intro. You're such a jerk. What's going on, everyone? We are missing our third bozo. George has a busy week this week, so he cannot join us. But thank you all for tuning in.
Can you give me your best George impression?
Welcome to May the Zoo be with you, America's favoriteest MTGist podcast. I am, of course, joined by something I'm going to say mean about an average and nice normal guy, Josh.
And that's it? You're not going to introduce me?
Well, no, then there's a long pause while he waits for me to reply, but I don't give him the time of
don't.
day. I am also joined by some massive insult about Louie, indicating that he is slightly worse than Josh somehow.
Yeah, that's how it goes, isn't it? Anyway, everyone, we usually have a third co-host, but it's just Josh and I, but it'll be fun. We'll do a good job. We'll have a lot of fun. Today, we're going to be talking about lots of magic stuff and things. We're going to do the Aftermath Bloodbath and have a unfiltered conversation about the absolute conversation about Aftermath. We're going to talk about the new Amazon dumps. You might not know what we're talking about there.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert, it'll come. We're going to talk about what we've been buying a little bit. I don't know, that one might get axed. Cryptic has new prize cards. We're going to talk about those and evaluate those and talk about the whole system for prize cards. We're going to talk about the Sorcery Living Roadmap update. And we're going to talk about Native because rumor has it on the internet, if you watch channels on the internet, Native is pumping. So we're going to discuss, is Native pumping, and talk about MetaZoo Native a little bit. So, Josh, you had a good video this week on Aftermath, and you evaluated the sales history on TCG Player of Aftermath. How was that?
First of all, you don't watch my videos, so
I do. I drove a lot this week. I watched your video today because I was driving and picking up a CRT, a 28-inch CRT TV to play my new NES on.
You got an actual CRT?
Yeah, dude.
Those are hard to come by.
Yeah, I was on Facebook Marketplace for way too long, and I drove way too far in the middle of what should be a work day for me today.
That's how I end up with random classic cars. I have two in the driveway because I need to get off Facebook Marketplace. It's bad, dude. That's a dangerous place to be.
Anyway, I was driving a lot this week, and so I watched a lot of content. So yeah, I did watch yours. Yours made the cut after I watched a lot of content. You're the only other. Yeah, you and Rudy are the only other TCG content I really watch. So you're in.
Well, I appreciate that as you were pulling in the driveway, you had time to cut me off right in the middle of the video. Nice, well done. But Aftermath is wild, dude. I don't know if you saw. I tracked the sold listings for Aftermath on TCG Player, and the grand total of all Aftermath boxes sold on TCG Player was 707.
That's crazy.
I thought it was an error in my software. I was like, oh, there's something weird with the Aftermath pages. I'm not going to tell you if you're going to ask me for my proprietary information.
No, what is the typical release for Magic? What is your number typically? So you have 707 for Aftermath. For March of the Machine, what was it? For Brothers War, what was, I mean, give me the... I know you compared it to Fab in your video, but what's the comparison to Magic?
So Dominaria Remastered is sitting, so I just pulled this up. I didn't know you were going to ask me this beforehand, which, by the way, I have this data. You could tell me you're going to ask for it. So I have to
know that I'm going to ask. You think I plan anything in my life?
I forgot that I'm cosplaying. Let me go get that data for you.
Oh, there you go.
So Dominaria Remastered is at 7,700 boxes sold. And let's see, Brothers War here.
This is censor these on these.
Yes, and Brothers War is at 10,000.
Okay, so
and Phyrexia All-We-One also 10,000. So shockingly low.
Yes, certainly most of a large number of those sales too happen in pre-release and release week because that's when everyone's buying the product. So let's half it and say that that Dominaria Remastered is, or those sets are 5,000. That's still considerably lower on a release week than typical sets.
I actually have that information as well, and half is not accurate. It's actually closer to a quarter of continued sales the week after release. So up to release, an additional week, and the sales drop by like 67 to 75% on every, and that's standard Magic behavior on TCG Player. The thing is, you'll get consistent sales. So Dominaria Remastered, to this day, you're seeing consistent sales every day. Brothers War, things like that. I think Aftermath is going to be a weird one. And 707, dude, was... I fumbled for the first time in my video. I'm very comfortable talking, and I was like, I don't even know how to follow this up.
It's like such a
shocking number.
Let's get this out of the way. We were wrong. Because we thought that a lower price point would result in a lot of people being able to buy the box that maybe typically wouldn't be able to.
Hot take. I think it did. I think if this thing's set at 80, you're not seeing 700 sales.
Right. Oh, you think that's the only reason is people buy them because it was slow?
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't notice today's sales seem to be actually more on par with what I'm usually. I mean, I don't actually run data, but just kind of evaluate it. There's a decent number of sales today for Epilogue boxes at the $63 price point, which is about what we pay. About what a store my size pays is between like 60 and 65 or something like that. So stores that are selling this are now losing 15%. Plus, the nice thing about this box on TCG Player, as somebody who did have to dump some on TCG Player, is it can actually be shipped first class. So your shipping cost is not your typical $10 or $11. Your shipping cost is more in the like the $5 to $6 range, and that actually saved me a lot from shipping on. I mean, not a ton, but those
I just want to point out
that I think of all the time is how much will it cost me to ship this product.
I think of how I can catch you in a gotcha, and you and Wizards of the Coast now aligned on the same side of the fence. You, Chris Cox, you are going to the cocktail parties. You were invited to the front seat of the fireside chats because all of you are just Amazon dumping.
Yeah,
it's like you guys together.
Listen, like I tried this. I lowered. I mean, I came out lower than all the online places, even locally, and just people were not that into it. We sold a couple boxes like we typically do, and people liked it. The people who bought it were looking for, cards in the set. They watched the spoilers, they paid attention, they wanted cards in the set, and that's why they bought it. They're not the people that are looking to flip their cards or whatever. They're just like opening one box from every set or whatever. We did the two packs of Aftermath, 4 packs of March of the Machine sealed.
I thought about that. I don't think that's enough. I think you need to do 5 and 2.
Yeah, maybe. I was trying to keep the price pretty low.
I gotcha.
People are like, they enjoyed it, but nobody was like, hey, we should do that again. It's just not different enough. And I wanted to you have anything else to say about the numbers? Because I have something to surprise you with.
No, yeah, I'd love to be surprised. Go ahead, hit me with it.
So a guy in my comment section, shout out to the guy in my comment section because I don't have the comment in front of me. But he made the point of that the Multiverse Legends slot is about 60 cards, or it is exactly 60 cards. And the idea that he had in the comment section was essentially, did they not include these cards in March of Machine because they wanted to have the Multiverse Legends slot, and then this was just like the extra cards, and they were like, oh, let's make another product out of it.
I mean, listen, I'm all in on a conspiracy theory. Like I'm 100% down. My Throne of Eldraine video this week got super tinfoil hat, dead internet theory, conspiracy loophole. So I'm in. I don't know if I could justify that. You can tell me the story where these were cards that were designed for March of the Machine. I mean, I think that's clear. Probably early in March of the Machine's
Yeah.
I guess inception. It was like, is this where we remove planeswalkers? Do we not? The idea was tossed around. They're like, no, we want to keep this. Let's maybe make it its own thing.
So you really think you buy their story that it's all about lore? Are they like, is Wizards really that tone deaf though, that like they think people care about lore enough that they're gonna go and buy a whole nother set just because
we're wrong.
of the lore?
I didn't realize with George being gone, we do an admit we're wrong podcast. But I mean, it's nice to be able to do that. But we're wrong. We constantly see, and this is, maybe it's just the sales data, but sets that are tied to exciting points in Magic's lore and exciting events within the IP sell better than ones that don't. They just constantly do. Regardless of the power of the cards
in saying that. I think there's a difference between I think there's like Phyrexia sells well, not necessarily because people know anything about the Phyrexian lore, but because Phyrexia and Phyrexian is just freaking cool. Like, it's a cool.
But that's like the aesthetic of Phyrexia and that theme and that environment is part of the IP and the lore. Like, that's
right.
There's levels, right?
People don't buy Phyrexia because it's a really good part of the lore. They buy it because Ellis Norn looks like a total badass. Well, and like
Ellis Norn looking like a badass is part of the IP and the lore.
Know, but it's so I guess I agree with what you're saying about people care about the IP. I just don't think they care about like I think people always get excited about a new Karn. People always get excited about a new Jace. They don't really care about Nahiri.
Listen. Dominator Remastered, was it? Had a Karn? Or no, Dominator United, sorry. And that had a Karn. I don't want to talk about it.
I think it had a Jace too.
I did. I don't want to talk about any of that. That was horrible. Horrible. Such a bad take.
I don't know. I think that this set you made a good point in your video. It doesn't have a home. There's no place for it. Like, there's no answer for where this set is supposed to go. Here's my question to you. Do you want them to keep trying things like this? Is there a way that this set worked?
Wow. It's a volleyball setup because we talked about this beforehand. Well done, man. So they're doing a couple things right now that you and I talked about off screen, and one of that's the big revival of Standard. And in the revival of Standard, you and I pointed out that they're extending that time frame to the 3-year window past the 2-year window. So a Standard set will live for 3 years. And if that's the case, and Standard does come back to any sort of prominence, a set like this could be super fun, right? Because it's going to shake up the meta. It's going to introduce new cards. Listen, if you're a Commander player, there's just a trillion things in here for you, like every other set. So you're going to buy it just like everything else. But I think in that world, this set is an amazing thing to come out. Now, we don't live in that world and nobody plays Standard. So it wasn't and it's not, right? It's terrible. So I think there's a place for this. I just don't think it's the right time. But let me pass it on to you as a store owner. Do you think that there is a world in the next 3 years where Standard play is picked back up in your store where something like this could be interesting?
I think in order for Standard to pick up, they would have to connect it with Arena. They would have to do something that's like Arena code cards.
Yeah.
Something that rewards players for playing in paper on Arena, because Arena is the most efficient way to play Standard. There's no way that a store can compete with it. Like, there's just no, it's so much more efficient to play. And so I think the way that they save Standard, in my opinion, is not extending Standard 3 years. It's by connecting Arena with in store. So what that looks like for me, and I don't want to get in a whole conversation about this, but draft packs is like basically just draft packs have code cards in them, so that when you go and draft at your local Friday Night Magic or play sealed, you are rewarded for playing on the on Arena, and you have code cards in there that give you packs in Arena. And you can limit that. If you're Wizards, you can limit that to, like, I think Pokemon limits it to 200 packs per set or something like that, or 200 packs a month. I don't know all the details, but and then you're committed to playing Arena, and you're involved. Like, a lot of people in my store don't play Arena, but maybe they would start, right? Because now they have this free thing, and and then you hit your quota, and then you start buying packs or you buy skins or whatever. So I think it helps them monetize it. But I think really that's what saves a Standard at the local store is like incentives to playing Arena both online and then in person that kind of benefits.
So since we're conspiracy theorying, you can tell me that they've already made the first step. My video about Wilds of Eldraine is all about like if you put code cards in Wilds of Eldraine, it's got an opportunity to be the best standard set release that we've seen in years at this point. Like, I mean, tying those two together.
I'm all for that, man. Like, don't get me wrong.
Right.
The data doesn't follow that. Like, they just rose the prices of Arena packs and things in Europe today.
Shout out Pleasant Kenobi. Yeah, like you have been following content.
Like they just raised the prices of all this stuff. So like the math isn't there. They're not going to do that. This is just my dream. Listen, like this is just my dream as an LGS owner to be able to enjoy the idea of people playing Arena.
I think you're wrong. I'm in the camp that they are taking steps to start making this happen. And well, like you laid out a lot of good points, but the big fallback is going to be like Wizards of the Coast has to make its buck, right? And if you're buying cards on Arena and you're not buying cards favorably, but if you target something like the draft box, which we've seen the sales data be just abysmal for, it's something that it feels if you're not drafting, like it truly has one use, whereas other boxes feel like they fulfill a couple different avenues. The draft box could fulfill that by having those code cards and supporting that, but also the 3-year change, I think, takes something that's crappy like the Arena economy and it makes it a little bit better. It's not perfect. It's still horrible. They still need to add a lot, but it lets those cards that you have that you can't trade and can't dust get used for a little longer.
I mean, I agree with that, but again, it is hurting in paper players. Like every in paper player I've talked to says the reason they play Standard is the shifting meta that happens whenever they have new sets in rotation and all that thing. That's like
because those are the people that are left playing Standard. Those are the only people. Yeah, your hardcore grinders for Standard, the only people that are left. You have to bring casuals back to Standard.
I guess, but listen, like as a store owner, I have a hard time selling people on Standard anyway. Just the nature of it. The decks are stupid expensive. You might as well, at this point, with the way Standard is, aren't Standard decks like $600-$700 right now for the meta decks?
That might be true. That might be true.
And it's all gravitated towards this Rakdos mid-range stuff that's just all the good stuff. It's just a boring format. It's not that much fun.
With the 3-year change, part of the promise is to be able to lean into the design principles of the individual sets to make Standard decks no longer goods. That's the whole. It's part of the goal is make it no longer good stuff piles, so you can play Toxic in Standard.
You know that they also just announced that they're going to go to a once-a-year ban list too, right?
No. This was the most nothing announcement ever. It was such BS because they're like, we're doing once-a-year bannings, and then they're like, and then every 30 days we'll do a small announcement where if anything needs to get banned, we're like, whoa, okay, so if there's an emergency, you still gonna ban something in 30 days.
Their intention is that I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's their intention, but they gave themselves an out.
Listen. I think that you are wild for thinking that Standard has a shot to happen again in paper. I think you're wild for that. Listen, like you can't just look at freaking Oathbreaker. That's a format that's heavily connected to Commander, and they can't get anybody to play Oathbreaker because the format sucks. It's not fun.
No, they can't get anyone to play Oathbreaker because they just rather play Commander.
No, the format
it's the same
sucks.
thing.
The format sucks, and so it's the Standard.
First of all, no, the Standard format does not suck. 60-card one-on-one Magic, non-singleton, does not suck. But you just said Standard, the format sucks.
No, I mean this format, like the way that Standard is today, now with the way that they print cards and they just put all the giant legendary creatures and it's just a pile of good stuff.
Oh, boo-boo, you've unlocked level 2 of the conspiracy theory.
Everything's printed for Commander, and so they can't hone in any Standard. Like their reasoning for 3 years being good And it doesn't make any sense. In 3 years, you're just going to have more good stuff to throw into your mid-range deck that's just going to be commander staples and playing the game. It's not that hard. Like, Magic's not that difficult of a game. You throw out some bombs.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Reed Duke and Jim Davis just stopped watching, and they watch every week, so don't do that. That's very rude of you. I would never offend you.
They probably don't even play Paper Standard. Does Reed Duke or...
That's because there's no... Okay, first of all, don't you go insulting professional players on a podcast where I'm on the screen. But no, there's nowhere to play. They would. I think they would. There's just nowhere to play.
So what? How do we go from a professional player can't even find a place to play to now casual players are playing? It doesn't happen
because with code cards, you have unlocked Wizards of the Coast's most valuable consumer. Yeah, the MVC, if you will.
We are on the same page then. I agree. If they do code cards, it will revitalize.
I think Standard can come back with a vengeance. There's so much stuff in the listen, they've already said they're doing it. They said they're doing it.
Doing code cards?
No, they said they're bringing Standard back, and there's no other way to do it. You and I agree. There's no possible way to bring that format back.
I want to go back to Aftermath. I asked you a question. It was very loaded because I already had an answer for it.
Yeah.
I said, what's a better way of doing this product? A better way of doing this product is the equivalent to like Commander Collection Green, Commander Collection Black, Commander Collection Red, a supplemental product that's like a 15 to 20 card product that's all geared to, in this case, it would probably be geared towards the Planeswalker, and then a few spells that are in the set that work kind of with that Planeswalker, and sold as like a pack of 15 cards where all the cards are the same at your LGS. They could even make them LGS exclusives. I'm obviously biased towards that, but a like a Commander Collection Green type thing, like that was an LGS exclusive product that was really, really well received and really, really cool. And they could take this, which is like when you open an Epilogue booster box, you get all the freaking cards anyway. It's not like they're changing it. Like
I had a comment. Someone said I opened 3 Epilogue boxes. I was like, oh, come back and let me know what your pulls were. And somebody else commented under it. He just said all of them. They got every card
3 times.
I was like, that's a good one.
There's 50 cards in the set. So like it's essentially the same thing, just without the randomization. And then you can have a premium version if you want that's more expensive and it's foil and it's rare and whatever. But like that's the type of product that I think would have engaged players in a meaningful way, would have done the same thing and like rewarded like the idea of lore and that kind of thing. You could even buy your favorite, Planeswalker, and it results, I mean, as a store, I also know that it results in like 3 of them not selling, right? Like you're gonna have the problem. You're gonna have some of, but like, listen, I'd rather have 3 freaking $15 decks not sell than 45 Epilogue booster boxes sitting in my warehouse today. Like I don't know, like I just think that type of product would have gone a lot better and would have been a successful way of celebrating rather than this thing that's just becoming a meme.
Well, you use the phrase celebrating. This isn't 30th anniversary edition, right? They didn't drop this to celebrate something.
Well, they pitched it as this like giant lore thing that's like that was worth it. Like I have a theory in my life.
Listen, hold on.
I have a theory in my life. Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
That is, we've all watched the channel.
Like, oh my gosh,
not true.
You're a dick. Everything worth doing is worth doing right. If you're gonna put the time and resources to something, do it in a way that is efficient and effective and that works. That at least has a shot of working. Listen, you're making fun of the channel. It has a shot. Who the hell knows, right?
No, your channel's in fairness, your channel's great. It's fantastic. I watch your content and comment on your videos because I'm a good friend.
But like this just doesn't seem like it was done right. It seems like they were required to put it in a booster box. Like I don't know.
Well, like listen, that's part of the big corporate, someone somewhere gave a team and said, here's your parameters. It has to be a booster box, it has to do this, and it has to push this narrative, right? Somebody made that decision somewhere and then gave it to that team, and that team did the best they could with it. In fairness, the idea of these major planeswalkers losing their spark and just being legendary, like Come on, that's kind of a big deal. If you're to zoom out there and like look at it, it's kind of a big deal. So give credit where credit's due. Just because a product's not hitting home, I think this is a testament to us as consumers and us as Magic the Gathering enthusiasts, right? We're finally embracing spend our money on things that matter to us, spend our money on things that we like. I mean, listen, a year or two ago, everyone would have bought this and just complained about it. We would have seen high TCG player sales and everyone would have whined, right? Yeah, instead, now we're saying,
Baldur's Gate is a prime example.
Wonderful example. Now we look at it and we go, you know what? We don't like it. We're not going to buy it. And like, kudos to us.
All right. So that was a good transition into Planeswalkers losing their spark. Here's my final question for you that I didn't tell you about. Nissa resurging Animus.
Are you gonna like quiz me on the abilities of a card in a set that I don't want?
No. Like, this is an Aftermath card. And it's seeing play obviously in Commander, but also in 4/5 color Omnath Modern. It made the top list last week in Modern. It is a $50 card for the retro frame non-foil, a $40 card for the extended art, $36 for the foil etched, and a $32 card for the regular mythic.
Yeah.
When you have a product that is this bad, this is kind of my video that I made today. When you have a product that is this bad, that has a lot of negative press, it doesn't have that much negative press, but it has a lot of negative press. This doesn't have as much negative. I mean, in the grand scheme of the last year,
I called it the biggest failure that's ever been released by Magic, because Magic 30th was only released to like 12 people. So,
if you have a set like this that nobody wants to open, that nobody wants to buy, and that stores just dump on TCG Player, what happens when you have a card that is as powerful as Nissa in the set? If nobody's opening the product, then this just jumps up to a $50 to $100 card. And then we see this retrace back. And this is the kicker in this conversation for me. This is why I have not continued to sell the rest of my product. This is the kicker for me in the rest of this conversation. Product allocation was also super honed in, like a lot of cuts. Like,
sure,
there wasn't that many boxes.
Gotcha.
When a card jumps up this amount, it's going to result, especially with a small set, it's going to result in people saying, well, screw it, I'll just open up boxes because like I need that card anyway, and boxes are $40. I'm projecting the future price like 2 weeks from now. What happens? What do you think? Like, what happens?
Well, in that world, sure. I just don't think it shakes out like that. And there's also a larger risk. Just to avoid, I made one flesh and blood comparison in my video to just quickly make another. It becomes a box of fab, right? You have a $40 card, a $60 card you can hit, and if you don't, you got a $10 box, right?
Yeah, what you were talking about primarily in fab was the legendaries were kind of the polls for most of those sets. This is a card that is, I mean, it's a mythic, but if you open, what is it? Is it 30? I think they're 30 pack epilogue boxes.
I thought it was 24.
I don't know. Anyway, 24 to 30 pack epilogue boxes. Like it's a 50 card set. Like you have a pretty high chance of pulling.
Yeah, but the mythics seem a little bit harder to pull in the epilogue boxes. Now the collector boxes, that's all out the window, right? Because it seems it's mythic after mythic and everything's shiny. Yeah. But the epilogue boxes, the mythics, they seem a bit tougher to pull.
I guess I haven't opened enough to know really evaluate the pull rates, but
yeah, I've watched a couple box openings. I watched yours, which by the way, dude, lay down a playmat. You open these cards and
at my mom's house.
You put them on a wood picnic table, dude. Lay down a playmat.
At my mom's
like
house
an adult
backyard with a camera that I've never used to open packs before, which is also like my giant Sony camera. So it's like I couldn't even see the cards.
Lay down a playmat like an adult.
Yeah, and then also like my kids were anyway. Holding.
You should have let them open it. What are they gonna do? Ruin the $5 card?
I was at my grandma's funeral that weekend, man. Give me a break.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? We're doing that. We're doing the guilt.
Throwing out the guilt. The more guilt trip.
Great. Great. All right, let's move on. I don't want to be here anymore.
All right, let's talk about the new Amazon.
You know what? No, she would have wanted you to put down a playmat. Okay, respect the cardboard, dude.
Those are really pretty cards, Louis.
My grandparents always used to make fun of like, why do you play with all those things? Like,
Actually, are you playing poker? Is that poker?
They called everything Pokemon. Everything was Pokemon.
Oh, I think it was Pokemon.
Everything was Pokemon because they knew Pokemon, right? They saw the kids with the Pokemon. They knew the Pokemon.
All right, great grandma Pokemon story. Because I mean, why not? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had Pokemon Yellow as a kid. Was like I had Pokemon Red, and that was great.
Pokemon Red was great. Pokemon Yellow was goat. That was so cool.
I remember being in the parking lot buying Pokemon. I like saved up my money. I bought Pokemon Yellow. I take it to my grandma's house. I'm like sitting. I distinctly remember being on her couch playing Pokemon Yellow and then leaving.
Yeah.
And then I never saw Pokemon Yellow again. Like it just disappeared. Like I have no clue. Like how do you lose a Game Boy game, right? Like
yeah, that's
rough.
Game
Boy. Like what other game was in there? Anyway, so I remember for like. In my mind, I'm sure it was like 30 minutes, but in my mind, it was like 3 days at looking for Pokemon Yellow at my grandma's house. We didn't find it. But of course, my grandma, a week later, went to, I don't know, KB Toys or, you know, whatever it
Grandma walked into a GameStop, dude.
Shout out to Circuit City. You know, like went and bought me Pokemon Yellow, and I still have that copy of Pokemon Yellow today.
That's great. That's cool. Shout out Grandma. Good looking out.
To more and more. All right. Anyway, that's Swedish for mom's mom, or I think I don't know. Or
that's kind of cool.
I don't know.
Listen, this is why you come to this podcast. You're learning Swedish right now.
You're also learning Swedish. All right, so let's talk about the new Amazon dump.
So you have to break this down because when you called it the new Amazon dump, I was like, "What are you talking? Did I spit in your eye? What is that?"
I just got beer in my eye, like popped up. And
what's the new Amazon dump?
It's actually they're doing their new thing is Secret Layer.
Louis gotcha.
Gotcha, everyone. It's no longer Amazon. I hope this means that they are cutting ties with Amazon. I'm sure it's not, but that would be ideal, as if it means that they are cutting ties with Amazon.
Hold on. Spoiler alert. They're not.
Spoiler alert. Jeffy B is still sticking around.
Yeah.
Also, I can't imagine anything that means less to Jeff Bezos than selling Magic the Gathering.
I would have, if I could sell the hometown TCG on Amazon, I would. Like, why would you not sell something on Amazon? Like,
the fees and return policy. There's a lot of reasons. Do you want to get into that?
God.
The competition with other retailers. I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
There is no competition when it comes to me.
Okay. All right. So we've talked a lot in the past on like Amazon dumps and that kind of stuff. They're basically not doing it. We haven't seen an Amazon dump since Black Friday. We'll call it Bloody Saturday.
This next Amazon dump is your fault. This is on you.
But what we have seen is these new things that they're calling festivals in a box, which are essentially the same thing. You made a point earlier. Oh, goodbye, dude. This is great. I can just talk to myself. This is the two co-hosts on this podcast are literally never here. You made a point earlier that draft boxes just don't sell, which is 100% true. And stores also, by and large, don't restock them because, like, I buy 2 cases of draft boxes. Nobody buys.
And you're good. Yeah.
Nobody buys draft boxes. They buy set boxes or collector boxes.
Except for that one guy. One draft pack a week. Cracking into them.
So we do leagues now, which has been, we haven't talked about this. We do leagues. So we're doing right now a
you told the podcast about this before, where it's when you lose, you get a pack.
So every week you can buy a pack too. So every Friday, about 20 to 25 people are in our league come in and buy 1 pack for their week pack. And so we burn through draft boxes, but we're not burning through 3 boxes a week. We're burning through like 1 box a week, right? So we don't need more than the 2 to 3 cases that I order of draft. But
I say all that to say this.
But Distro always has draft boxes. So they are certainly printing way too many draft boxes. And now we have the Festival in the Box, which have only been draft boxes and these convention edition boxes, which I'm sure are just reprints. You bought one, looks like. Is that what you got?
Yeah, so that's what I went to pick up. That's how I ended up with the convention edition boxes in the background, and I just haven't added these to the background yet. I bought the last one. So that's
Nice.
how I ended up with these bad boys.
This is this is coming from a game store owner who wants you to buy product at gamegrove.gg, everyone. This is by and large the best Magic the Gathering deal you can find on the internet, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I did the math. The prices of these boxes. So this new one is the one we're going to talk about is the Barcelona one, which has Dominaria Remastered Draft, Brothers War Draft, and then the Mystery Booster Convention Edition. If you use my distro prices for me to get a restock this week, you are essentially I am essentially, if I were to do this, paying $80 for the Mystery Booster box and the 2 promo cards. You're, as a consumer, you have the ability to buy boxes for the same price as your store if you value a Mystery Booster box at $80, which Mystery Booster boxes on TCG Player last I looked were like $200, but I'm
now in fairness, we did just criticize how difficult it is to move draft product, so it's not like you can buy that draft product, get all that money back out except the $80. That draft box is going to be probably pretty tough to sell, right? So in fairness, it's not just get all that and have $80, get 2 promos and a mystery booster. You're going to have to find a use for the draft box,
which is why so and the mystery booster box is selling on TCG Player for $184, and they got scooped up pretty quick from from what you bought, the one that was 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. Like the price has already gone up, and it dropped down to like 167, and it's already back up to the 183 from the 220 high. So yeah, it's rebounded pretty good. These, if you haven't opened a mystery booster pack box, these are super good. We did a draft because I bought that box, and then we did a draft that next week when I got them.
That's cool.
The most fun way to play Magic, in my opinion.
I've never opened one. I've never opened a mystery. Shout out. Let's see if I have them. Peter gave me, as part of his big Christmas gift package he sent me from MinMax, I got 3 Mystery Booster Convention Edition packs. He had them lying around, and he sent them to me. And I haven't found the live stream opportunity yet to open them. So
do yourself a favor and do a box opening video and just open the Mystery Booster box. The set's 1,800 cards. You have in every single slot a chance to hit a banger. The way the pack is set up is 2 blue cards, 2 black cards, 2 white cards, 2 red cards, 2 green cards, the rare, whatever, and then the test card. But in the black card slot, you can get a Demonic Tutor. In the blue card slot, you can get a Rhystic Study. So in the same pack, hypothetically, you could open a Rhystic Study and a Demonic Tutor.
Is Mystery Booster, what set symbol will it have? The Mystery Booster set symbol?
It will have the same set symbol as the regular card, but then the Planeswalker in the bottom left corner.
Okay, just like the list.
Just like the list slot.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so listen, those of you who are listening, if you like Magic and you enjoy, if you have a group of 4 or 8 people to play sealed or draft with, you should pick this up. This is an incredibly good deal, and it's really fun. And this is, again, somebody who wants you to rather order Lord of the Rings pre-orders from GameGrove.gg. I rather you do that, but this is just too good to miss out. This is such a good deal. And this is their new thing, man. We're not going to stop seeing this.
I don't think we stopped seeing this, but I don't have a problem with it. It's moving draft boxes, which is something that you just said stores have trouble moving. It's not something that you're taking money out of the store's pocket. People who are buying these draft boxes would not have gone to Game Grove and bought a draft box.
The only one that doesn't make sense in that statement is Dominaria Remastered.
So
that is essentially a set box. There's no set box, and the box is just straight fire.
Juiced, yeah.
Maybe,
but they gave you a lot. Listen, they gave you a ton of time. You've got a ton of time to move Dominaria Remastered.
And listen, I think this is how I know this is their new dump list. Is they didn't cut us at all on Dominaria Remastered. They printed a quadrillion boxes of Dominaria Remastered.
You think that's bad, dude? You think that's bad? You said we're saving up for Lord of the Rings pre-orders. How much of that do you think they're printing?
Yeah.
I have an answer for you. Yes.
I I actually went. Somebody reached out to me and wanted to buy a bunch of commander decks, and so I went to add. I can still add command. I don't know what that means. Like I don't know if like I don't know
Dude.
for sure that they've done the allocations yet. But everything else is like I can't order more of. But the commander boxes I can order more of still for Lord of the Rings.
Breaking news then, because I normally don't do a video on Fridays. I just do my live stream, but there's a video releasing the same day as this pod. MinMax sold out of set boxes for Lord of the Rings. They put up their pre-orders. They got their numbers. They sold out the same day.
Can you start sending your viewers to GameGrove.gg?
No.
I'm actually worried about selling out too. I haven't gotten my final allocations yet. I'm like, listen, this set's like the hype is real.
I knew people were going to be excited. I didn't think.
Sorry, we have to shout out Modern Horizons 2 is no longer available on our distro lists.
Well, hold on. I thought, don't say it yet. George might want to buy some more. And before we leak that information, that guy's got inside tracks. If anyone can buy MH2, it's that man.
We were on the phone when we got the list, and he's like, "Oh, they don't have MH2 on this list." He was like, "Finally!" I was like, "Yeah, dude. They just know that you're buying it. They're just like, oh, we don't need to send it out to the other stores because they'll just sell it to George."
They're gonna Streets of New Capenna him. It's not going to be on the list, and in a week, it's going to be $50. It's going to be the special or something.
Next month's Secret Lair.
Yeah.
It'll be in the $80 mystery booster slot.
The Secret Lair is just a box of MH2. It's like new Secret Lair, box of MH2.
Right. This is my question to you. Are you against
Why do you do this host thing when it's just you and me so much? You're so aggressively the host.
We actually get to ask each other questions and listen to each other and go through the whole dialogues. It's a new thing for me. I haven't gotten to do this in a long time. Are you, as a consumer, are you okay with Wizards selling direct to consumer in a large way?
Yes.
Why?
No. I'm not. I wish that, well, my take on this and everything I've ever shot or said into a microphone and camera lens, so I want to make sure I'm consistent with this, has always been for regular products. Like, let's say your standard release, your draft box, your set box. I want the collector booster to not be a regular product. I want it to be collectible. So for a draft box, a set box, given enough time in the right circumstances, I'm fine with it. I think the new Magic the Gathering game for a store should be buy what you can support and sell it immediately. Give the people, the product right away, and then because Wizards is going to go direct to consumer. I do wish that there were things locked that Wizards of the Coast would say, this will never be direct to consumer. You can only get these at the local game store. If like something like this, the complete bundle, right? If you made the complete bundle only available through a WPN or WPN premium store, that's a massive win, in my opinion. That's a huge win. I have the secret layers. There have been game store specific secret layers that people can get, and those, of all the secret layers, I'll always buy those. So I want more things like that. That's what I would want. I like your Phyrexia box a lot more than the secret layers they've done direct to store or through stores have not been the best ones. Well, but okay, that's a function of what's in the product, not the idea of the delivery, right? I think I would love all secret layers to be, you can only get these at your store, because they've got to be so cheap for them to print and ship. There's still a lot of meat on that bone as far as Wizards of the Coast making that money, but that's truly just out of the goodness of their heart. The problem with a company this size with this amount of reach and notoriety means, when they started this game, they needed the stores as a place to play, as a marketing. I argue they still need them as a place to play, but listen, they can market their own stuff now. Wizards of the Coast does live streams and event reveals for their products, and they've got hundreds of thousands of viewers. They don't need the LGS in that sense anymore. So I'm okay with it. To wrap up a rather long-winded answer at this point, I'm okay with it. For certain products, I would like to see something specific to the local game store. Yeah, and I think they've been doing it.
Amazon is where they've been doing it. So like this doesn't surprise me. I would prefer them to not be on Amazon and to be direct to consumer on a website like
on Watsy.com,
on Watsy.com.
Magic.com. Yeah.
I just think it feels different. I don't know why. I guess it feels different because it's less you have to do maybe more digging to find it, and like it's not as competitive, I guess. I don't know. I think I like the way that this works. Like I have no problem other like Dominator Remastered a little bit of a problem, but the main sale here is the Mystery Booster box.
The Mystery Booster box.
Like,
right.
That's the main sale.
Yeah.
And I rather I think I'm kind of fine with that.
But do you okay, let's play a game where we make the comment section hate us for a second. Play in defense of Wizards of the Coast. The reason they can't do certain things like this is not only is the Magic the Gathering market and people who purchase Magic and sell Magic so wide, there's so many things that can happen in that, where if they were like, okay, I'm going to take this Mystery Booster Convention Edition and I'm going to say it's a bundle that only your game store can sell. I'm going to ship it to your game store as a bundle. I'm going to wrap it together. How many stores are ripping that apart and either marking 100%. Up the booster box? Like, yeah, there would be people who ruin this, right?
And let's also not forget that the average Magic player no longer plays at a local game store. And this is where I really hone in is like
until Standard comes back with the changes that I've told you are coming, guaranteed right here on the pod.
I think I would rather them do things. So like when you go to their website for not Double Masters, what's it? Commander Masters.
Whose website am I going to?
On Wizards website.
Oh wow, yeah, I would never think to go there to buy a product, but
that's where they have the
yeah, you're right.
The thing,
the link,
I can pull it up while I'm talking. I'm not gonna do it. While
you can find on the link at the top. You can find a store or shop on Amazon.
Right, and like who's gonna go find? Who's gonna hit the local store? Like nobody's gonna do that.
I pulled this up on Friday Morning Magic, and the local store finder is so crappy.
Yeah, well, listen, they have the most. Like, it's a massive, but also like they don't know if the local store is going to have a website that also has. Like, I don't think I have Commander Masters pre-orders up. I hope I don't, because like I don't know my allocations yet. So like,
but then both links should be disabled in the interest of fairness.
So this is where I always come back to. They need to have an MSRP. This problem, the Amazon problem. Yeah, I really believe that the core of the problem with Amazon and that whole thing is that there's no MSRP.
No one's abiding by MSRP. No one. I know. All those people on TCG Player are not abiding by it.
Bingo.
But Wizards has to.
You know who also isn't abiding by MSRP?
Wizards.
But
I'm sorry. So they tell you this box has an MSRP. Everyone sells it under MSRP. And then when Amazon dumps and everyone says, you can't do that, they're going to look and be like, nah.
So I think that they should just do pre-orders at MSRP on their website. That should be where or on Amazon. That should be where Wizards sells. Because I know George disagreed with this. I firmly believe that this is Magic selling on Amazon.
It is.
They have I know we agree with that, but George thinks it's some stupid Jeff Bezos
branded.
is like, you know what I want is I want to buy, like Amazon's not fronting the money for the product.
But is Amazon running the whole shop and Wizards is just paying them a fee to do so? Is that a service Amazon offers to a big business? Sure. But it is a branded Wizards of the Coast store.
Yeah, and Wizards ships the product to an Amazon warehouse where it's fulfilled from. And
Amazon, who else is going to ship the product to Amazon? Yeah.
Amazon takes a cut of the product. Amazon's not fronting the money for the product like a distributor or a store. There's no.
Amazon doesn't buy the product from Wizards and sell it on the platform. No, it's their fulfillment. That's all they're doing.
And this is where really the reality is that their prices are set on demand for this. So I think that Wizards should commit to selling product at an MSRP on Amazon or on their own website, and then not selling below that for 2 years, right? Like give it a window, give whatever.
Sure.
And then stores can fight to the bottom wherever they want. But like we saw with the Step and Complete bundles, Amazon was selling those for $43 effing dollars. That was less than my cost for those bundles.
Right, like we want this. Well, that seemed like it was a mistake. Like some wires got crossed somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
But we want the same thing. I want product like that does invoke any kind of community response to only be available at the store. You want them to have to sell it at the fair market so the stores can compete for the money. And both those result in the same thing, right? It's a boost to the local game store, which is again, just if we're trying to make people not like us, you can tell me a world where that's coming based on what Wizards of the Coast is doing, trying to get people back in play in these preview events. Hey, I have a theory that with the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings release, and then the Celebration of Magic, which is the Lord of the Rings themed giant magic party that's happening 2 weeks after at every game store in the country or whatever it is. They're showing they want people back in the store and playing. They're committing to that more than I thought they ever would.
Yeah.
And if they think that they're going down that road and it's not enough, I could see them taking more steps. Like what does Wizards of the Coast do with everything? They take it too far. They take everything too far. Right? So yeah, I don't know.
I want to come back to one thing I said is like the person who doesn't go to a local game store.
Are you responding to yourself right now?
Well, I just think like I see Wizards' side of this where it's like they want a place for that person to buy product. That place should just be Wizards. Like that's fine. Like that's fine with me. It should just be at a higher price point.
I think that person, like, the accessibility is a problem, right? If someone lives in Alaska, I actually have a viewer that comments like from Alaska and they have like 2 local game stores. But let's imagine you live in Alaska without local game stores, which I thought was all of Alaska, but apparently not. And you can't access Magic, but you want to buy boxes and you want to crack packs. And it's something like you need an avenue for those people to engage. But the overwhelming majority could find a game store to ship them product, right?
Right. But like they don't even know that that's a like.
But Wizards is big enough they could push that. Like that store locator could be on the front page of everything and be pushed, and people could be finding stores.
For me, it was Channel Fireball, and I hate Channel Fireball now. So like before I did content, before all the YouTube channel, before I ever went to a local game store, I would like I had in college I had a play group, and I actually got free product from Channel Fireball. Like they had like a game club promotion where they would send you some dice and crap.
Wow.
Yeah, but like that's where I bought my boxes from because I didn't. They were my local. They were my game store, or I think the other one was, I don't know, board game. Anyway, I see the point of stuff like this, and this has probably helped people engage with the product more than at like Walmart or Target, and I think that is a win because then maybe they start looking locally for where can I buy this box, and they end up at the store. But I don't know.
Sure. Until they end up at their store and they see it's more expensive, and then they never go back to that store ever again.
It'd be less expensive.
Well, it would be in your fantasy world, and in my fantasy world, people are playing standard, so it doesn't matter. So, like.
All right, let's skip what we're buying because we're at an hour.
You made me put all this stuff on my desk.
All right, fine. Let's do it.
No, skip it. Skip it.
Skip it. All right.
Skip it.
All right, let's move into the. Yeah, dude, mine too.
That's cooler. I'm not going to open this. People don't get to know.
It's
only watchers. Only people who watch my live stream get to know.
Tune into Josh's live stream where he will show off his Black Lotuses. His binder full of Black Lotuses.
Low tie, if you will. Those who have them know.
All right, let's talk about Cryptic. My store is so. I have a Discord for my store, and then also for Kitchen Table TCG, and the Cryptic section of my store Discord just has not stopped this week. They're just constant. Like they are so into the spoiler season. It's a bunch of guys who have never played TCGs before, and then Donald from Scruffy Looking Gaming. And Donald's been, he's been a Magic player he's like 40 years old. He's old. And
he's 40?
He is, yeah.
You look great. Shout out
to Donald. Scruffy Looking Gaming. You look scruffy, buddy. Anyway, everyone's been like crazy talking about the spoilers. And then today they put out this the season 2 prize cards. I want to get your take before I tell you my takes on them. I'm curious with your takes on them. And it's way better content if I'm surprised by that.
Why is this just the hey Josh give takes and I'll try to refute them? Do you know the first thing
I haven't refuted many of your takes today, have I?
I have no idea. I just wanted to use the word refute. If I'm being completely honest with you, I felt intelligent. I felt good, man. Don't drag me down. You know the first thing I thought. I'm assuming you're showing the spoiler cards on the
yeah, and I sent it to you too.
Prize cards. Yeah, I have it. Thank you. This is the first emotion that was evoked.
Yeah.
By these prize cards was this right here.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic of these because I also like, we skipped the what I'm buying section, but I'm still buying these. But I really like the aesthetic of these. I like cards that are textless because I've always been a Magic player. Now, hold on, boo-boo. I played Magic all the time. Thousands of games at this point. So I like textless cards. I also can respect that in an indie trading card game with a smaller following, something like Cryptic, textless cards might be a risky move.
I'm waiting for the rest of your takes. Do you have any other takes?
No, I wanted to, yeah, this is a back and forth.
Nice. Okay, I agree with you. Like I think I saw.
Oh, this is boring. Then hold on, I want to change my take.
I didn't think of the cards that you're showing the lands, really? But don't they look? They're basically the same look as the textless player prize cards, right, from old Magic.
Oh my gosh, you're just talking about all the things that are on my what I'm buying.
Do you have a lightning bolt? Tell me you have a lightning bolt there.
I have a lightning helix.
Oh, that doesn't count. Yeah, those were the player rewards cards. Listen, like.
Yeah,
I get this all the time. Why doesn't Magic do player rewards all the time?
I listen. The player rewards cards, in my opinion, are a huge win. I love that program, and I like that I like the emotion that this draws out of me in that vein.
Yeah, and like I like that Cryptic doesn't shy away from. They're not hiding this, right? Like everybody knows that this looks like the Magic cards. I like that Cryptic doesn't shy away from their roots. Like Tanner's
None of your community knows that. It's a bunch of people who have never played trading card games.
Yeah, what do you mean? It's
so how is this going to land with them? Like it evokes that emotion from us trading card game enthusiasts for years. Yeah. How is this going to land with those players?
So this is actually kind of funny. My community is really hit hard by the Texas thing. I don't know if you remember my event, my big Cryptic event. One of the players basically shuffled. He had like the Texas cards in his deck, and then he was placing the text cards next to the textless cards, and he ended up shuffling one of the text cards into his deck, so that his deck was illegal. So the reaction
there was drama at the world's biggest Cryptic tournament.
Yeah. So the reaction from my community has been like, like this is bad. That's what happens when you have Texas cards. But they also look at them, they're really excited about the look of them. That's been my attitude. I don't mind the Texas thing. Like I think you're responsible. Like you're responsible for your deck. You're responsible for knowing your cards. I think you should be required to show a card that says what this card does. I think frankly, like we live in 2023, so I believe that could be like using your phone and being like, this is what that card does. Like I'm okay with that. But I really like the look of these, and I think that the theme is there. The only caveat I would say to this is that I wish that the cards were consistent from set to set, and these look way different than the prize cards from, the previous season 1. Like I just think there's something to say about things being consistent.
I disagree with you on that.
Really?
I like that it's because like listen, the reason I like the player reward cards is because, and I've said this before, that's when I started to move into my local game store Magic playing, was like full art Tidings, full art Electrolyze, full art Lightning Helix, right? And that aesthetic reminds me of that time. Now, then you move on to your Cryptic commands, which is the next generation, and they were foil, right? And they've changed since then. Now you've started to get retro frame stuff. It binds it these cards and this aesthetic to an era. And I actually like that, because the people who go out and they play Cryptic and they earn these player reward cards, they're going to be able to look fondly on that time just by the aesthetic of the card. And then as it changes, one day you get one of these cool binders, right? And it's all the different eras of player reward cards, and someone who just came into the game last year opens that binder, is like, oh my god, I've never seen anything like this. What are these? Like,
Right.
and you get to tell the story. So I like the changing aesthetic. I think that's a great move. Tanner, in my book, you get bonus points for that. Louis wrong.
All right, no, that's fine.
Huh,
I can respect that. Like, I can respect the.
And it rewards, like we've talked about, like having unique rewards, right? Unique art. So it rewards you for being a player at that time.
Yeah, I guess like I want to be rewarded for being a player the whole time. And
Well, you do. You have to innovate.
I want a binder that looks the same. But you know what though? Like, I rather have people excited who can say what you just said, which is like, I hopped in and I remember that those were the times when I hopped in. And I think that's.
I think it's cooler. So you said you want a binder that looks the same. I like a binder that tells that story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. You flip through the first version and then the second version. I think that's neat.
I also can't get any of these because I'm a store nurse. I give all mine away. Even when I win, I end up having to give my prizes away. I'm ranked number 5, baby. I'm gonna get like the actual like player rewards. Like, they're doing that too. Season 1's wrapping up.
Do I have to start playing Cryptic just so you stop winning?
Dude, listen. I care a lot about that.
It's rough out here for a penguin.
Anyway.
For those who don't know, playing trading card games with Louis is the most casual and then suddenly competitive and cutthroat and salty trading card game player in the entire world. It comes out of nowhere. You interact with this human and he is the nicest, be kind to the people around you and everybody loves, and hey, these games should be for casuals, and then you sit down across from him and he wants to destroy you. It is all a facade. Don't let him get you with it, Cryptic community out there. It's wrong. What you do is wrong. It's predatory and wrong. Your Cryptic 30th anniversary edition is what you are. That's you.
Anyway.
Not anyway. This is a good point and you're wrong.
I deserve that. Pretty cool. There's other Cryptic stuff coming out, I think, in the next couple of days that we can talk about next week.
Sweet.
I'm stoked. I think it's cool. Yeah. Good job, Tanner. I think, listen, you're always going to have stores there's been a lot of drama in the secondary market because there's a couple stores that are selling the season 1 prize cards.
Like,
you're always going to have that. My players love the prize cards. They ask me every week, what cards are we doing? And what are we doing next week? Because I don't want to miss it. Like, it's engaging. It's great. And keep it up.
Isn't it wild? And I don't think I have it right here. It would be really awesome if I did. That Magic the Gathering used to just get it, right? You used to want to go to the F&M to get the prize cards, your DCI cards, your foil wonders and things. Like, people would go just because they're like, yep, I want to make sure I get my card. I played in the event. And they like dropped that ball. And these indie trading card games are like, you know what? No, that was so great. We're going to do it. Why? Yeah. Because people want like cool, memorable stuff. They don't care that it's worth $5 on the secondary market. They care like, hey, I got this for my F&M. It was a cool promo.
And they want to put it in their deck and show off to their friends 2 weeks later that I beat you and I won this. Magic does care about it still, dude. It's called Secret Lair.
No, but like,
they just care about selling it to you.
For the F&M, they and to their credit, they are coming back around. We've seen a really cool Fabled Passage. There's stuff that's coming back into the limelight for this. But for the longest time, it's like they had this golden ticket, and this way to like, and this is the one I was looking for, one of my favorite ones, an old DCI Basking Rootwalla. Like, they had this way to like get you excited about just showing up at the F&M, and they're like, nah, we're just not doing that anymore. Like, why did we stop this? What are we doing?
It's called Secret Lair.
Such assault.
Anyway, super cool. Really excited about that. And I think it's a great way to do it. Listen, yeah, that's good. All right, let's move on to Sorcery. Sorcery has
Can we take a pause and realize how many props I just have at my desk to be able to use in these conversations at any given moment?
Pretty impressive.
This is pretty amazing. I'm pretty happy. Anyways,
I was gonna get my DCI Llanowar elves out, but they're in the other room. So
you can talk about the other thing now. I just wanted to,
I can get my.
I'm wearing the Hawaiian shirt. I wanted to talk about how great I am. So
I can get my
take that.
My Flanagans from I bought those. Okay, all right, let's go. We gotta keep going. I'm sick. I'm feeling it. Let's go sorcery. Living Roadmap was updated. There's not a ton of sorcery news, so I don't know how long we'll talk about this, but Living Roadmap was updated, and it appears that the UK and Europe and Australia and Asia are all already being picked and packed, and will be sent out by the those who are organizing that hopefully soon, and it'll basically be to you, I would say, in the next couple weeks or week or two. That's pretty awesome.
I noticed something. America wasn't included in that little list you just gave us.
Well, my theory, I told you my theory on this, is
did not.
July 4th. They want us to celebrate our independence by receiving our packages of sorcery.
You want us to celebrate our independence by receiving a box of cards that the rest of the world already got? No, sure. We are first. USA. Listen,
there's no shot at us being first. The roadmap, the pledge shipment progress should be titled the math equivalency testing, and US is in the back and everybody's ahead of us.
I don't know what you just said.
I was making a USA sucks at math joke.
My wife is a math teacher, sir. I take that very offensively.
Tell her to do better.
Hey, at least she's got a job, Louis. No, listen, this is neat. I should shout out Sorcery. They actually reached out to me. So we can finally test the cards. They are sending me some cards.
Next week, get a card and bend it in front of George.
I 100%. As soon as I get it, I can't wait. I'm excited to. We talked about this. I am excited to experience the card quality. I'm just not excited to do it through the webcam. Like that doesn't do anything for me. But so shout out to them for just reaching out and saying, hey, if you're going to talk about our stuff, we want you to know what the experience is like. So they get a huge shout out from me. I will say, I still have only one concern about Sorcery. The rest, it's great. Everything is fantastic. One set a year gets me.
Yeah.
You can't keep my... Listen, I'm a Magic fan.
I get it.
And almost everyone that's going to engage with Sorcery is. And because WotC is constantly ruining me, inundating me with sets, you can't keep my attention for more than 3 months.
I do think that there is a balance. I think you're talking two polar opposites. Like, I think one set a year is not enough. I think one set a month is way too much. Like
I said 3 months. That's what I said.
Yeah, I would like
3 to 4 sets a year is perfect.
So I have a couple of thoughts on that. Number one, 400 card sets are huge. And that's a huge difference that like not most sets are 400 sets. So if it does end up being one main set a year and they're 400 card sets, that goes a longer way. I don't think it goes 7 months, but it goes a longer way.
It is a lot to chew on, yeah.
To keep people engaged, to require you to open boxes or trade cards. I also think that Sorcery keeps things close to the chest, and I hope that they have some solutions that they've been working on. I know that the team has been highly focused on like delivering of alpha, but there is that like a subset that they've kind of talked about.
I remember that teased.
Yeah, the guy who does the dragon artwork for a lot of Magic cards, his name's slipping my head. I'm gonna get roasted by the Sorcery people for that. I'm not an artist guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, listen, you don't
Ed
get
Beard. Ed Beard Jr. Ed Beard Jr. Screw you all. I got it. You can't be mad at me.
That's amazing. I would. Yeah, I knew that at one point.
So I do think that they are working on some things that maybe they haven't announced. And
do you have scoopies that you're not sharing on this podcast because you don't want to get banned from Sorcery?
No, God, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Normally when we theorize on this podcast,
this podcast means a lot to me. So I wouldn't stop from scoopying if I if I was allowed to. Like, I'm not gonna, if they tell me something,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna not say. But
No, of course not.
they have not told me anything. I do think
I know. I put you in an unfair spot there making a joke. I know that you don't know something.
I don't. So like, here's the thing though. Aftermath has shown me I don't want a 50 card booster box.
Okay, you just did this to me. There's a wide stretch between a 400 and some odd card set and a 50 card set. There's somewhere in the middle that you can meet there. Like,
when they talk about a mini set, I feel like they're not talking about more than 50 cards. Like, one of the issues that Sorcery is gonna have, in my opinion, is that when you do hand painted artwork that is this high caliber, you can't just like reach out to the artist who does digital art every day and cranks
Ed Beer.
Yeah. Huh?
You can't just reach out to Ed Beer. You can't just text him or email him all the time.
Like he's not, it's like actual art. It's, I mean, that's a little bit biased. Like, it's different. It takes longer to produce the artwork for a game like Sorcery than it does for a regular game that's, you know, not using hand done artwork. It's a big difference. And so if you
Sure.
want to do more sets a year, you have to figure out how to produce more artwork a year faster.
Sure, but I'm sorry, but as the consumer, and again, mind you, I'm pro Sorcery. I've loved everything I've seen aside from the one set a year. I think they're going to struggle to maintain consumer attention. You have a lot more faith in the idea of set collecting and the larger set taking it farther.
Oh.
I think I would have rather this set been split in two and been guaranteed 2 releases this year. Now, again, knowing nothing about game design, calm down. I'm just let me get my point. I'm just saying all this to say this. I don't care. From the consumer seat, from my side of the game store counter, you are going to experience as a game challenges that you have to overcome to deliver a product to me. And when you say you only get 1 set a year because you get this, I'm going to go, I want you to solve the problem. I think that's going to be the consumer reaction. Is like, yes, we understand this is difficult. It's a challenge. And we understand that it gives us a higher quality thing at the end. Yeah. I still want more of it.
Yep. Well, I think so. First off, let me respond to a couple things. I believe firmly in the idea of like leave the consumer wanting more. Like I think that is like, I think Magic, it feels like a fire hose in your mouth, right? And you can't keep any of it down.
I'm coming around, man. The rapid release cycle has a purpose and it's working.
So here's where the win is for the rapid release cycle and the losses for Sorcery. It's not necessarily the consumer that's already committed to Sorcery. Like there are people who love Sorcery, who are all in. They could live off of alpha for the next year and be fine.
Sure.
It's the new person. It's the person that sees the person opening alpha at the game store or learns how to play, and there's, you know, beta products, you know, either there or sold out or whatever.
Sure.
Maybe there's something for them to buy, but what brings in the new player and excites the new player about that, I think, is what Sorcery has to figure out. I think they could do that with like some sort of 50 card or 40 like auxiliary set or pre-constructed deck set. Like, what do you think about that? What if
Sorcery first? The only thing I care about, don't recreate Aftermath. It was bad. It didn't work.
I'm not saying that.
It didn't work. If you make a set called Aftermath, it's bad. Don't do it. Don't do what Louis is telling you to do right now.
That's not what I'm saying.
No. A 50 set.
What if it was a pre-con set? What if this year their mid-year product was a pre-con set that was either 2 or 4 pre-cons with, you know, you have 60 card deck that has 30 different cards in it, so you have 40 to 50 unique cards. That's a pre-con set with artwork or whatever, and it's sold just as pre-cons.
So the short answer is we've seen this, and Sorcery is run by a bunch of very intelligent people that are not unaware of past misgivings in the indie TCG space. We both were adamantly involved in a game that didn't do this well. It doesn't mesh the new player at the game store that wants to experience the game and the existing entrenched player. Yeah. Right. And in fact, it leans one way and only supports the entrenched player and leaves its new players say, hey, sink or swim. Right. And some people thrive in that environment. The majority of TCG enthusiasts fall off in that environment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorcery knows that this one set a year will 100% satiate the people who are all in on sorcery and can live off alpha for the next year. The challenge, and I don't know if your small deck set or whatever it is going to solve that, but the challenge is, how do I give those people enough to nibble on to keep following the trail of crumbs, and while doing so, find a way for them to mingle with the entrenched player? Right? There has to be some way to commingle to some extent. Now, you can still have events and things for the entrenched player, for the avid fan. You should support them a little extra above the top, and that's fine. But those two must coexist, and that's your challenge. Now, is it a mini deck series? Is brand new, unique art for existing cards going to do it? I don't know the answer to that question, but I know it must be done.
Yeah. I think the ideal release structure for a game like Sorcery is 2 sets a year, 6 months apart, and in between some sort of auxiliary deck product.
I feel like aggressively that it has to be at least 3.
3 sets a year.
Yeah. I feel, and part of that's based off like living in that world, living in a TCG with a 3 set a year release. There's so much time where your attention is pulled. And like, especially people, you've never played a trading card game, and like you get the bug, you get the bite, right? And then all these other trading card games got stuff going on. And you're like, well, I want the hype. You don't know about all the problems under the surface yet. You just want the hype, like.
So if you did 800 cards a year, because in my mind it was 2 400 card sets. You did 800 cards a year, and that leaves you with.
Do it, baby. Type that calculator. Get it.
260 card sets. 3 260 card sets.
Sure.
That doesn't do it for me.
Why don't you just do 900 cards and do 300 card sets? Why don't you just like...
I think, like, personally, I think that the best thing Alpha and Beta have going for it is that it's going to be really hard to get every single card. It's going to require you to open 3 boxes. Like my orders, almost all my orders on my beta have been a order plus a box or order plus 2 boxes. Like, people understand that in a large set like that, like, you need the extra product to open up. And I think that's a win.
I think you oversell that. People aren't going to want every card. People, you don't want an arachnoid adaptation. You don't open boxes so you can get all your arachnoid adaptations. Like, you don't do that. People aren't. There are going to be cards that are bad and cards that are not good art. And like, there's going to be some that overlap and are both. And people don't want that card. A 400 card set's not a 400 card set, right? There's stuff in there nobody wants.
I think for Alpha it is. Like, I firmly believe that for Alpha, people are.
You're looking at this through entrenched lenses. You're looking at this through your sorcery goggles.
That's fair.
Like, there are going to be cards that the majority of that community does not want, and that's fine. That's not a knock on sorcery. No, that's how trading card games work. There are cards in trading card games nobody wants.
I think that there will certainly be cards that are less desirable than average. You're right. No, you're right. I think though, like, I guess my point is more people are going to collect a full set of sorcery alpha than the magic boxes, and percentage wise.
Yes, but it's got the alpha moniker. It's the first set of a trading card game that people think can make it. It is not. It's not the Brothers War, right?
Okay. Maybe I can agree to this. That maybe a 400 card set's not as important when it's not alpha then. When it's not the first set, and maybe
could tell me a world where you're overselling that still. Like the notion of the number of people that want to complete an alpha set.
It's
that
not
with
necessar-
one.
Yeah, okay. So you're hearing that. It's not necessarily that. For me, it's also the value of the cards. Like when you can open up one box and get every card in the set. Well, frankly, we've seen this with like Cryptic is this way. You can open up basically one box.
Aftermath.
Well,
Aftermath.
Aftermath's different because you're getting multiple copies.
You're getting more than every card in the set.
I think my collector box I had 6 of the Nar sets. Like,
Let's go, dude.
Yeah. Like Cryptic is this way in my opinion, where you open up one box, you get basically every card in the set. It's a win in some ways and it's a loss in other ways. The win is that if you're a new player, you buy one box, you get basically everything you need. You can trade for the stuff you don't have. That's a win. I think Cryptic is probably one of the easiest games for a new player to get involved in as a result of that. But what it does is it makes a lot of the cards not have value. And where I think we're going to see in Sorcery is a lot of even like the non-foil cards are going to have value as a result of you don't get one in every box.
For the cards that matter, yes. For the cards that the cards that matter, that'll hold true. I'm
saying even for the cards that don't matter. Like no, you just
you can't sell me on that. You can sell me that you will want to collect them. That
I'm saying if you're deck building and you need a card, you're not going to get it out of your box guaranteed. It's going to require you to go to the secondary market to purchase a card, which then drives the secondary market prices
100% for the 30% of cards that make it to the decks that flesh themselves out to be the decks to play. It's the rest of the cards that I'm concerned about, because every TCG, those cards matter in the box and people will buy them and want to trade for them. Heck, for Aftermath, we just talked about it, right? For the worst set of all time in Magic the Gathering, people are still buying some cards to stuff them into modern decks to play at their RCQ, right? It's the other 70% that worries me. And when you're looking at one set a year, that's when you grow concerned, right? Because it's like, if we don't take to that other 70%, it's risky. It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. I think another huge risk is like the meta. If they do care about in-store play and that kind of stuff and competitive, more like not competitive play, but seeing events happen and that kind of stuff. Once the meta is figured out for a set, if you don't have anything for a year, that turns into a situation where it's very stagnant. And that's why I like the idea of having some sort of pre-con deck or something every 4 or 5 months, where maybe it probably needs to be every 4 months, I guess, some sort of release where you can inject some cards that can really shake up the meta and allow people to play with them. Like I think
that's when an Aftermath style release, 50 cards targeted at shifting the meta, works. And that's really difficult to do. Having a full understanding of your meta, designing a small 50 card set that will shake that up without breaking anything is that's a ridiculous challenge. I mean, luckily, like we've said, the people at the helm at Sorcery understand this far more than either of us do, and I think the game is in fantastic hands. I'm interested to see those are the challenges in front of them. I call them problems. I don't think that's fair. They should be called like every game's got challenges. These are the challenges they're going to have to overcome. I'm excited to see how they do it.
Okay, let me throw out one more curveball.
Yeah, of course. May the zoo be with you, dude.
Secret layers, right? I'm sorry. Why
do you take everything you hate in Magic and be like, let's throw it at Sorcery?
Before I get roasted, I'm not advocating for secret layers. Secret layers have themes, right? Where it's often like an artist that they're themed. What do you think about the idea for Sorcery? So I think one of the big things is Eric, obviously the art connoisseur and art director for Path to Exile, and like that's his baby, right? Is handling the art.
Shout out Jim Williams, guy plays hundreds of hours of Path to Exile.
Shout out to Jim Williams, my dude.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. This is great. I love this.
So what if they did a set a year that was, promoted and brought about as his baby? Like he had his hands all like he did all the art.
That's all of sorcery right now, isn't it?
Right now there's one set, and it's been
and it's his baby. But like the next set will be his baby as well, won't it?
But we're saying that there needs to be more sets, and the biggest hiccup there is that he can't be doing this set with all the hand painted artwork and also focusing. His time is limited to the amount of time that he has in New Zealand. I don't know. I know they're ahead of us or behind us. I don't know if they have 24 hours in a day, 25. I have no clue.
They're behind us. Okay.
Not on the shipping pledge progress.
Hey, USA.
What if they structured their releases as like a yearly Eric's release that was the biggest release of the year, the most exciting release of the year, but then they hired or delegated to somebody like Simon or whatever in the community, where it was their responsibility to curate the artwork and organize that kind of stuff, and it was promoted differently, like a Secret Lair is. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Maybe it's the Hawaiian shirt. But like, I just want to be a dick to you right now, because all you did is you spent the last 3 minutes outlining and giving us details about how they are just going to get more sets a year. And like, that's the same. I don't care how they do it. I don't care what, to use a Louis favorite phrase. I don't care what gimmick you throw in the box. I don't care what it is. I don't care. I just need more sets a year. So if that's the gimmick, sure, go for it. You want to serialize a card? I'll buy it. Like, so there you have it. But I don't care what it is. I want the enthusiasts to be engaged more. You said leave them wanting more. That want only lasts for a certain amount of time before that. I'm going to go get that want elsewhere. I'm going to go buy a box of Magic, right? I need you to give me more. And if you do it through Louis' crazy schemes, I don't care. Whatever it is.
I think what you're saying is mostly applicable to why a game store would carry the game. Like, as a consumer, frankly, like, I think most consumers will just come back for that set, and I think that it won't grow. But most consumers will just come back to the new set. Like, I think of board games that I've fallen in love with, and I don't play them for 4 months, and then they release an expansion.
That's not how I want people engaged with my trading card game.
I agree, and I think the number one importance there is, like, as a store, why would I carry that game if, like, it's not going to happen? Like, there's not going to be engagement there.
Sure, and we've gone down this path before. Maybe it's the Kickstarter model. Maybe it's something outside the LGS where we explore different options, whatever it might be. I don't even care if you do it outside the LGS. Let's say tomorrow Sorcery snaps their fingers and says, you know what, GameGrove.gg, screw you. You can't. We're existing outside of this LGS. I still want to find a way
to fulfill all my orders if that happens.
And if, by the way, you might have to fulfill those all because I think they're selling out, aren't they?
They are. I'm at like 65, 70%.
Listen, if you're watching this podcast and you haven't bought one yet. What's the name of the bundle?
George's Wrong bundle. In my entire lifetime of 2 years of doing this sale thing, I've never had a successful sale last this long. Like, usually my sales when I hit a number like this, it's like in 45 minutes I hit the number. It's like I sold out in 45 minutes or an hour. That was the pandemic, right? Or like if a sale's lasting this long, it's like not going well. Like, I have like 2 orders a day. It's awesome. It's like the most consistent my website's ever been in my entire life.
You as a businessman will always fascinate me. We've had conversations behind the scenes where I'm like, oh, what do you net on this? What's your profit? What are your numbers here? And your response is always, I don't know. I don't know. I got cash in the bank account. I spend it. I put it back in. I spend it. You are the most fascinating individual on the internet. I can see why your channel does so well. Kudos to you, dude.
There's a phrase all the kids are saying these days. It's called YOLO. And that's basically,
you can miss me with that, homie.
No, like it's been really cool to see like the consistency of the sale.
Yeah.
I think part of that, I mean, I'm not blind. It's because I'm doing content on sorcery and the videos come out and I talk about it, and so people end up there. Like,
and if you like that sorcery content, you can click the subscribe button.
My sorcery videos are doing better than my Magic videos lately.
This was a rough week for Magic videos.
Yeah, Magic sucked this week.
You screwed me.
Yeah.
You came at me last week and you're like, hey, I saw your channel. And one thing I noticed is some days you do 2K, 3K, and some days you do 400 views. I go, Louis, I haven't done under 1,000 views in months now. And I said that out loud to you.
Yeah.
And then 2 videos this week under 1,000 views. And I was like, oh.
Kind of sounds like you screwed yourself.
No, I said it out loud because you made me. You poked the bear and I roared and I shouldn't have. I should have stayed humble. The kids say stay humble. I didn't stay humble.
All right. Wrapping up sorcery. USA looking to be. Still? Let's hope we get it for the 4th of July. That's my new goal.
I want to make this clear. I like sorcery. I talked about challenges, but I'm wearing the Hawaiian shirt. I don't want the comment section coming after me. I'm excited for sorcery. I'm a sorcery stan.
I just want to open. I'll tell you what. This is my promise to the channel. I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off.
I'm promising something to my own channel.
This goes into the Louis how he runs a business.
Narcissistic.
No, has no clue how to run it. If I get Sorcery Alpha by July 4th, I will record. I don't know where I'm going to be on July 4th, for the record. I'm sure I'm not going to be home. We'll see.
A picnic table somewhere.
I will record a box of Sorcery Alpha opening with fireworks in the background. If I get by July 4th to celebrate.
That's going to be the worst audio in the history of YouTube videos.
Also, there's zero. I don't know where I think I'm going to not be home.
So he's not doing that. He changed his mind.
I'm doing it. No, I committed. It's on. I'm not editing this out. If I get it by July 4th, we'll celebrate like that. All right, let's move on. Speaking of delays, let's move into is Native pumping our MetaZoo segment. Welcome to the MetaZoo Minute, everyone. So, Josh,
this is such a trap.
What have you heard about Native?
This is such a trap. We just talked about this with sorcery, and this is my complaint. So all those in the comment section and in various discords that always attack me for my MetaZoo takes, get your typing fingers ready. As a casual observer and enthusiast when it comes to MetaZoo, about as casual as you can be, I know nothing. This set was released or wasn't released, and it's on TCG Player, and there's 6 retailers, and now there's less retailers. And Rudy's saying it's a blossoming success, and the box is doing great, but there's only 4 people selling it, and there's 7 total sales. I don't know what's happening.
Listen,
this I don't know what's happening.
I will give Rudy credit when credit is due, and I will give Rudy criticism when criticism is due.
I will always come to Rudy's defense because that's kind of what we do on this podcast.
I don't know how you can say that the set is successful when you know that it hasn't been fully released to distro or to partners yet. I would gravitate on the side that maybe Rudy just doesn't know, but he's been saying that a lot lately. So here to answer your question, I think that first off, Native's not officially released yet. I think they said it releases next week or something. I think that this is one of those situations that, frankly, that we're seeing with sorcery too, where there's just not enough to know from the owner, the game company's standpoint. It's a little bit just out of their hands in terms of manufacturing, delivery, shipping, logistics. Just like sorcery can't give us a deadline because they don't know what it is.
Stop it. If some game was to deliver boxes, and on TCG Player, I just went there. There's 40 boxes available on TCG Player right now. 26 of them from the same retailer. Just to kind of give you the breakdown, there is 6 individual unique sellers.
Shout out to the sponsor of this channel, Catch 'em All Collect on TCG Player.
Are they really?
No.
I'll take my cut now. Thank you. So if that was the case for any TCG, and we were like, hey, why are some stores getting to sell this? And like the assumption here is it's just not popular because only 6 stores are selling it. Like that's the assumption. And the reality is, well, it's not partially out. We would criticize the living bejeezers out of that company for giving 6 people the right to sell the product and nobody else has the right. Like
So
these retailers should be contacted and these should be pulled down, right? Because
I would assume that these retailers are it's not pre-order. So I would assume that these retailers are primarily partners. And like this is where I disagree with your statement. I do think like Mike prioritized partner stores. He put out.
So these are the only partners on TCG Player? Because what about the rest of the partners?
Frankly, most partners probably have websites that they're selling product directly to their people. Like I'm a partner.
So every MetaZoo partner has their stuff.
No, that is not true. But some partners got it earlier than others, which we talked about already on the podcast. Distro still doesn't have the product. Like regular distribution hubs,
right?
PHG still didn't have the product. At least last week they didn't. The announcement was this week that Distro would receive product this week and next week. Partners would receive product first. I am biased. I think that is the right way to do it, though. If you're gonna have partners, it seems like giving your partners the product first is the win. If a store is upset about that, they can go through the requirements to become a partner store.
I'm a fan. So that's wild to me. Every other trading card game tries to put roadblocks and hoops you have to jump through. Roadblocks and hoops you have to jump through for big box retailers. And if you're not Wizards, for Amazon, things like that. Every other local game store that's willing to sell people your product plays on the same playing field to an extent when it comes to getting the box and listing the box. Now, that doesn't mean you can't give your partners benefits or bonuses. I'm not sitting here saying MetaZoo partners deserve nothing. No, they 100% do. But your street date on a product should not be the benefit to some of you. Like, that's ridiculous in my opinion. I don't think you can't change my mind on that.
So I think I would not want MetaZoo to come out whatever the next product is, War. I want one of them to be like, hey guys, for War, partner stores are going to get boxes a month early, and then we're going to send it to distro. I agree with you. Like that is not the win, but in the reality of what happened is like they didn't anticipate this delay. If they knew that the delay was going to happen in this strong of a way, they would have just delayed the set, I presume. I don't know what details are behind the scenes.
But like these are partners. You have that ability. You can reach out to your partners and say, hey guys, you're partners. You can't sell this yet.
Well, that's also pretty frustrating as a partner. Like if I paid for my product, I want to be able to sell it to recoup my money. I need cash flow. I need to be able to sell the product and recoup my money.
Sure, so but this reality that we live in is frustrating for those partners that have nothing, that are seeing other partners sell stuff. I jumped through the hurdles. I worked my ass off, and I've got nothing to sell. Like it's just as frustrating. But at least in my frustrating scenario, all of your partners who should be equal exist on an equal playing field. Someone's frustrated. You're right. In the world we live in, someone's frustrated in both scenarios. But in my scenario, we have an equal playing field.
I agree with what you're saying, that all partners should have got their product first. That's not what you said. What you said before was that all retailers should get their product at the same time.
Not your non-big box retailers. All of your independent game stores, things like that, should all get their product together.
So I don't know exactly how it works from distro, but like if I had put in an order from distro for this product and I haven't received it yet, I'm pretty sure I can just be like, yeah, we're past the due date. Distro didn't provide the boxes. I'm off the hook. And also, if I was ordering from distro, I wouldn't have spent money yet. But partners paid money up front for their product. So I'm all in on partners being able to get their product and sell the product as soon as possible, because like partners already put their capital up.
Well, that's fine, but then they all have to get it at the same time. You can't have some partners experiencing an advantage. Like you have to then call those partners or reach some means of communication and say, hey, I've moved street date, and you can't violate street date. Why have I moved street date? Because we've created this partner tier that have these downfalls, but also benefits, which again, partner benefits is fine, but all those partners should exist in the same ecosystem.
I think it's fair. Like I think I agree with that. I mean,
Like,
I'm obviously on the other
yeah,
side of that. Like I see the argument for that. I think my caveat to that is like, I guess maybe they didn't understand how long it was going to be. If it was a week, maybe that's different.
but they don't get let off the hook for that. If someone else were to do that, we wouldn't be like, well, this company just didn't know.
To be fair,
like
nobody
too
else
bad.
has partner. To be fair, nobody else has partner stores. Like that is essentially what happens at a distribution level. Like there are times when I get super heavy cuts at a distribution level as a store owner, and I can get product into like Step and Complete bundle is a decent example. Like I could have gotten product weeks later for Step and Complete bundle, but like I was heavily cut at the beginning, and all that's like the whole system's effed up, dude. Like that whole thing works on based on how much you spend at distro. Has nothing to do with what you order. Like it's
but that's the world that every other game and every other store lives in, and this breaks that mold.
It doesn't break the mold. That's what I'm saying though. Like there's priority given to a store like MinMax gets their product early, gets like they get their stuff. They do. They pay way less than I pay, like for Magic product. Like that's how it's a broken model of the world that if you have more money, you're at the top and you get more stuff. Like logistically, it makes more sense to ship people the stuff that ordered the most product too. Like let's not forget about that. Logistically, it makes more sense to get that out of your warehouse as soon as possible. Like there's other reasons for that in the ecosystem.
But like tight deal player that has 2 boxes, that's not them.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are. I kind of.
It's just a retailer selling 2 boxes.
That could just be somebody who bought boxes from. That's not even a store. They don't even have the store symbol. Actually, none of those. The only one
shout out Burning Tree Gaming, new sponsor of this podcast.
The only one that's a official game store. Like these could all just be regular Joes who bought their boxes from Argos or from me or whatever, who are selling their product on the secondary. I think. I mean, that guy has 6 of them, so he apparently bought a lot of them at Catch 'em All Collects. But I think from a partner standpoint, most partners who have product aren't selling on TCG Player. Like they're probably, frankly, they're either going to.
You keep saying most. So
like I would be very surprised if any partner stores are selling their product right now on TCG Player. That would surprise me a lot. Frankly, MetaZoo doesn't do very much business on TCG Player as a whole. It would be eBay if they were going to sell it on second, but most partners have some form of community that is probably eating this product up because it is high price right now because the product is low supply.
Like again, you're not, and all of that is fine, and that's fair. But I got partner A and I got partner B, both in Chicago. Chicago's a big place. Everyone's buying from partner B because partner A doesn't have anything yet.
I agree with that. Like, I think that's broken. I agree with that.
But now if I'm partner B, I'm not a partner anymore. You just said it yourself. If these stores want to become partners, they can jump through hoops, was your statement. I did the jumping. I worked hard. I jumped through the hoops to get boned here for you not to go to bat for me, it feels like. Like this is a negative experience. And the fact that we have a product without a street date that's had an event for it, but didn't have the product at the event, and this is just, it's been my complaint with MetaZoo. It feels like I've had this conversation with people, and my least favorite human being in the entire universe is always something person. Hey, how's your day? It's always something. There's always a negative. There's always some problem. It's never just good man, how's yours? Right. MetaZoo releases feels like it's always something person. Yeah, there's always something. And listen, you've done this for a long time. You're one of the indie TCGs that is standing the test of time. You have community belief. You need to figure this out. I don't want to hear we couldn't have foreseen shipping delays. Listen, there's how many other trading card games that are doing it? So there's clearly a path to make it happen. This is my problem.
Shout out to Tanner. Like he had from Cryptic had a bunch of issues with Wave 2 for their boxes. He's got a whole new printer already for for the new boxes.
Right.
Like I would like to, I think this is I think it's a fair criticism. I would hope that MetaZoo moves to figure out their speediness, the ability to get their product quicker. Maybe that looks like finding a new printer that can fulfill this stuff faster.
And again, it's just like the sorcery conversation. We're not smart enough to know what that fix is. However, when you run the game company, when it's your baby, and that is your job, or your team's job, or some individual within that organization, that is your job. And as the end consumer, I will hear you, I will empathize, but I don't care. Figure it out.
Yeah. Long story short, I think it's a little premature to say that native is pumping and is a huge success. Until the product is in the hands of all the retailers and distro. And I think like that's what I wanted to hone in on today is like, be careful buying. Like if you want to open up native, buy the box now and open it up and enjoy the product.
No, you're paying a premium, but that's okay. That happens in every trading card game. Yeah. Every single one.
I will say the supply of this seems to be significantly lower, even from a like allocation side and that kind of thing.
Right. They did a great job fixing the supply with Seance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It was, the print run felt much better managed. The box is still holding at like what, $89 or $90 or something like that. Like for Seance, that is a vast improvement. But again, it's a vast improvement, but there's always something.
Yeah, that's fair. I was trying to pull up to see if there was, I don't know if there's singles or even on TCG Player yet. But anyway, interesting stuff. Cool conversation today, dude. I thought we did good.
Yeah, this was fun. I miss George. I was just watching you get the frustration you experience on a weekly basis. It makes me giggle a little bit.
Yeah. Miss him. He'll be back.
Or will he?
Found that next week on May the Zoo be with you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being here. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you go on over to Hometown TCG and like Josh's videos and subscribe to him as well. Thanks for watching with us. We appreciate you. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and may the zoo be with you.
And also with you, dude.